You're always out and about, leaving the house in a mess. I work all day and come home starving, only to find there's nothing to eat. That's just unacceptable. I'm sorry, I just wrapped up work and I'm on my way home now, I replied, my voice strained. My husband's fury erupted. Are you serious? You know I come home hungry. It's your duty as my wife to have dinner ready and be waiting at the door. I work full-time too. I can't do that, I shot back, feeling the frustration rise. He scoffed, dripping with disdain. Of course you can't, you're just inefficient. I'm the one bringing home $900 every month. I am Abigail, 35 years old, a working mother married for 5 years. My husband, Paul, is the same age, and we live in the house left to me by my parents, who passed away 7 years ago. We met at our regular bar. He approached me while I was drinking alone. At first, I thought he was just another guy hitting on me, but he was persistent. Over time, I found his kindness and willingness to listen to my woes comforting, especially during the dark days after my parents' tragic accident. Eventually, I decided I wanted to spend my life with him, and we married. Our families were thrilled about our union, and I envisioned a happy future together. However, living together revealed his adherence to the old-fashioned belief that the husband earns while the wife manages the home. He refused to share household chores and left everything to me. Even when I came home late from work, he never lifted a finger to help and critiqued every little thing I did. The only reason you're working is that you can't manage things properly. As the head of the family, I'm doing my part. Your most important role is to run the household perfectly. Don't use work as an excuse to neglect your responsibilities. He bombarded me with harsh words. Despite my repeated attempts to discuss our situation, he remained unmoved. One day, while I was heading home from work, my phone rang. It was Paul. I answered hastily, dreading the conversation. Where have you been? The house is a disaster. I'm sweating at work all day and come home to an empty kitchen. It's just not right. I'm really sorry. I'm finishing up now and heading home. If you're hungry, there are some snacks in the cupboard. Can you hold off for a little while? His fury intensified. You think this is funny? You know I come home hungry. It's your duty as my wife to have dinner ready and greet me when I get in the door. I work full-time too. I just can't manage that. I defended myself, but he mocked me, his tone dripping with scorn. That's just you being inefficient. I work hard for $900 a month. You should be grateful for that. $900 isn't enough for us to live on. I've told you that countless times. Suddenly, it started to rain. Contrary to the clear forecast earlier in the day, I reluctantly decided to ask him for help. Could you bring in the laundry? It's starting to rain. His response was drenched in irritation. What? You expect me to do your tedious tasks? That's your responsibility. Our budget is tight because you can't manage it properly. I earn enough, but I let you work because of your demands. Don't slack off on your household duties. I'm hungry and frustrated. I'm going out to grab some food and play the slots. He hung up before I could say another word. I let out a heavy sigh as I trudged home. When I arrived, I found the laundry soaked from the rain, left abandoned on the balcony. Defeated, I gathered the wet clothes and tossed them into the washer. Paul had been at a small factory for about 15 years, but somehow, he still only earned $900 a month as a trainee. Despite my repeated arguments about how that amount was insufficient for our needs, he remained stubborn. He had never worked part-time during school or gained experience elsewhere. Convinced he was doing enough as the provider, with no other option, I had been working hard to support our family. Recently, my dedication was recognized with a promotion, but with it came an overwhelming increase in workload and the frequent requirement for overtime. I struggled to balance work and household chores, yet Paul showed no concern or willingness to help. The following day, after finishing work, I returned home to find him sulking on the couch with his arms crossed. Hello, I greeted him cautiously. He glared back, his voice booming. Did you forget already? I told you yesterday to have dinner ready and to greet me when I come home. You're utterly useless. I've said it before, we both work. When I come home late, can't you manage to grab something like ready-made meals? I reasoned, but he sighed dramatically, dismissing my words. Oh, I married you thinking I hit the jackpot with a moderately attractive woman who owned her own house and had no bothersome in-laws. But it turns out you're just a washed-up hag. You don't care about your appearance anymore, and I can't find a single redeeming quality about you. How dare you? Is that all I am to you? I frowned, my heart racing with anger. He continued, unrepentant. What's wrong with choosing a spouse based on certain conditions? You fell for me because I was kind to you, right? My gentlemanly act must have been pretty convincing. I was completely fooled. I shot back sarcastically. He smirked. Right? Maybe I should consider a career in acting, and you know, putting in a little effort to keep your husband interested wouldn't hurt. But the way you neglect yourself on weekends is unbearable. An ugly, useless wife deserves to be handed divorce papers, don't you think? As he turned toward the door, I followed, desperation creeping into my voice. Where do you think you're going? With a sardonic smile, he replied, I'm leaving this house for a while. It's all your fault, so I'm taking our savings with me. I won't come back until you sincerely apologize and realize what life is like without me. The man of the house, think long and hard about it. He left me standing there, stunned. The savings he took were meant for our future children, money I had diligently set aside despite his unreliable income. I thought we shared the dream of building a warm family, but that was a misconception. All I could manage was a dry laugh of disbelief. 3 months later, on my day off, I was lounging at home when my phone rang unexpectedly. It was my husband. Hello, I answered, and his cheerful voice cut through the silence. Abigail, long time no see, have you had time to reflect? Without me, the head of the household, you must have had a hard time. If you repent and dedicate yourself to me, I might consider coming back. I haven't been struggling at all, and I certainly don't want you back. Besides, I sold the family home, and it's gone now, so where do you plan to return to? His cheerful demeanor faltered, and he exclaimed, What? Don't be ridiculous, even if it was my home too. Why would you do something like that without consulting me? I'm not joking. A large shopping mall is set to be built in the area, and they approached us a while ago for a buyout. Everyone in the neighborhood agreed, and it made no sense to refuse. The house was old, but we got a great deal above market value. As I explained, his tone shifted. If we got money, then fine. Since we sold the house, that money is partly mine, right? Give me the new address. You've had time to reflect, haven't you? It must be hard without me, the head of the household. No, I haven't been struggling at all. I see no reason to repent, and I've been quite comfortable without you around. Let's use this opportunity to get a divorce. His panic was palpable. Why has it come to this? I earn $900 a month. You should be struggling without me. Isn't it harder for you without the head of the household? I sighed, exasperated by his naivety. Actually, I've been the one supporting us financially. I earn far more than you. Still a trainee after 15 years. Last month, I made about $4,000. You're under my care. Yet you delude yourself into thinking you're the breadwinner. You probably want to be rid of your ugly and useless wife, right? Well, it's mutual. Your leaving was the wake-up call I needed, and for that, I'm grateful. His voice trembled as he pleaded. Wait, please, I didn't mean what I said. It was just in the heat of the moment. I pressed on, testing him. Really? Then where have you been since you left? Caught off guard, he stuttered. Business hotels, you know. Don't lie, I know everything. I've suspected your infidelity, especially over the past 3 months. You've been gallivanting around. It wasn't hard to find evidence. College girls, shop clerks, aspiring models, and wealthy madams. Your infidelity became apparent soon after we married, but with my busy work and home life, I never had time to dwell on it. Once, I accidentally saw that you were using a dating app when you fell asleep with your phone open. Later, I registered and messaged you, pretending to be someone else. You replied instantly, acting as if you were a 23-year-old dental assistant. I played along, asking, I want to meet you. I need your hugs to heal. What color is your underwear today? Your responses grew increasingly nauseating, and disgusted by your deceit, I deleted the app immediately. When I confronted you, you brazenly said, Infidelity is a man's nature. Wouldn't you be prouder of a popular husband than a dull one? Be grateful that someone desired by women married you. Are you serious? A man earning just $900 a month, talking about pride? And you barely contribute to our finances while demanding an $800 allowance? Do you realize that's less than a child's allowance? All this men earn, women tend the home, yet you do neither. Chasing after women has really addled your brain, hasn't it? Frustrated by my disdain, you snapped, Enough, a little affair and you make a big deal out of it. I can't stand a nagging woman like you. We are getting a divorce, and remember, I'm entitled to half of everything, including the money from selling our house. I agreed to the divorce but corrected you. You're mistaken about the house. It's mine, inherited from my parents, not subject to property division. I've paid all related taxes and maintenance. You've never contributed to it. Stunned, you paused before asking in panic, so I'll lose the house and get nothing after the divorce? It's worse than that. Remember Ava, the wife of Chief Williams? From the other end of the phone, I could hear your breath hitch in shock. I was astonished when I found out you were involved with her too. The president was furious when I reported it. They were lenient because of your family, but now they regret not firing you sooner. You told them, how could you betray your own husband? What will I do if I'm fired? My husband raged at me, but I stood firm. I won't be your wife anymore. Your actions are no longer my concern. I married you believing you were kind, even with your meager $900 salary. I thought we could build a warm home together. Instead, you indulged in affairs, hurled insults, and then withdrew all of our savings for your escapades. That's despicable. I will demand alimony for your ongoing abuse and infidelity, and you will return the misused savings. From now on, deal with the lawyer. With that, I hung up without waiting for his reply. He tried calling back repeatedly, but I ignored him and eventually turned off my phone. On the answering machine, I could hear his tearful messages. I was wrong. Please, let's start over, but I ignored them all. Not long after, he was fired due to his affair with the boss's wife. Ashamed by both the company president and our relatives, he faced ostracism from his friends due to his persistent harassment of a classmate's wife. Despite his tantrums, our divorce proceeded smoothly with the help of my lawyer. My in-laws initially covered the alimony and the embezzled savings, and he agreed to repay them monthly. After our divorce, my ex-husband attempted to return to his parents' home, but they refused him entry, stating, "We don't mind the repayments being transferred, just don't ever come back to our house." It seemed they had cut ties with him. Now, he's rumored to be living in destitution, wrapped in cardboard by the river, scavenging through trash, scorned by passers-by. Post-divorce, I threw myself into work and was promoted to lead a significant company project. I immersed myself in my career, and the project turned out to be a huge success. Colleagues from various departments contributed, regardless of gender. Unlike my ex-husband, no one held male chauvinistic beliefs. Everyone cooperated and worked together as a team. At the celebratory party, I resolved to continue striving for a better society. Years later, I fulfilled that resolution by founding my own company and becoming its CEO. Focusing on creating non-discriminatory work environments, my company actively encourages paternity leave, with over 90% uptake among employees. This year, I am determined to keep working toward a better society. My former colleagues, while initially hesitant to let me go, ultimately supported my decision, knowing my commitment to the cause. Today, my company stands as a beacon of equality, promoting work-life balance for all.